Hello, lovelies. It's Robin here. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. I'm going to talk about loving yourself, like really, truly caring for you, okay? I see a lot of lack of self-love in people, people just being way too hard on themselves. And I really want to hope to try to give you guys some inspiration to put yourself first and truly fall in love with the person that you are right now. You can fall in love with your past as well and fall in love with your future, okay? So, of course, when I was preparing to do this video, I could hear RuPaul in my head because I watch RuPaul's Drag Race constantly. If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? So, this is a very challenging society in which to put ourselves first. This is not a sexist comment, but I find it can be very difficult, especially for women, because of the gender roles assigned to them. I see it's lifting a little bit, but not enough for my liking. So this is for everybody, because I know a lot of men that are insecure as well. And obviously through their behavior, they don't really care for themselves very much. So whatever you got going on out there, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of these, and feel free to add any points that you think would be really helpful for the collective. So guys, the first thing I'm going to talk about is dating yourself, okay? So this is especially important for those of you that are single. It could also be really important for those of you that are in a relationship, but you guys are not on the same schedule. One of you could be working nights, one of you could be working days, one of you could be an introvert, one of you could be an extrovert, okay? So you don't have to plan big, lavish events. That's not what I'm talking about. Although if you want to do that for yourself, that's also fantastic. Dating yourself, it could look like going for a manicure or a pedicure, stopping for coffee, taking yourself to a movie, going for a walk through the park. Just really invite yourself out to do things. And I know a lot of people that don't like to go out and do things alone, but sometimes it's not an option. Sometimes people are busy, or maybe you're just in a position right now where you don't have any close friends, or all your friends live in different cities, or maybe you're in a really extreme hermit mode. Some of you could have social anxiety. So just start small, okay? Do an intentional walk. I'm going for a walk with myself. This is why having a dog for me it makes my life so much easier, because I have a crippling social anxiety, believe it or not. I can get really stressed out when it's time for me to leave the house to go do something with other people. But I go out with my dog and I'm never alone. So I guess that maybe that's a little bit of a cheat, but it works for me. We go everywhere together, and if my dog's not invited, I'm probably not going anyway. So that's the number one way that you can start to fall in love with yourself and who you are, and really get to know who you are. Sitting in a restaurant by yourself is probably the ultimate way of expressing care for yourself, because just try it. It can be really daunting, and not taking your phone and not working on things while you're there, just really enjoying your company. And you can people watch too, because that's super fun. Second one point that I have here for you guys is to honor your body, okay? And I know this can be very difficult because we are constantly bombarded with, what perfect people look like. And it can be very challenging when we are trying to fit into a certain dress size, or a waist size, depending on the clothing that you like to wear. Sometimes your body doesn't work the way that you want it to. I really struggle with this one too. Actually, this morning getting dressed, I was like, ugh, I just don't like the way I look. I have to constantly remind myself that this is the body that I was gifted when I chose to incarnate here on earth. And I honor it the best that I can by sending it love, sending the pieces of my body that I'm not 100% fond of. And I find that the more I age, the more parts there are. Am I right? So, if your clothes are too tight and you're uncomfortable, go get new clothes if you can. If you can't afford new clothes, go to a thrift shop. I love thrifting. We have many thrift stores available where I live, and I'm sure you guys do too. So honoring your body is like, it's so important. I honestly listen to, they're called honest affirmations. I listen to that first thing in the morning, and they're pretty salty. And one of the affirmations is like, I love my body, and is it perfect? I don't effing care. So I don't have a perfect body. I'm sure many of you don't. And even people with perfect bodies have image issues. So just really like, try not to hate pieces of your body, and look at your body as a functioning tool, okay? And just kind of go from there. And you can do self-love affirmations, body affirmations. You can listen to honest affirmations, but honestly, they are raunchy, but I also find them very hilarious, and that's uplifting. Third point I have for you guys is to stop settling, okay? Stop settling. Like, don't take anything that you're not worthy of. I find this is especially true when it comes to friendships and love relationships. So I think sometimes it's just better to be alone than be with somebody that rubs you the wrong way, or you have a distaste for them, or you think that they're a project and you can fix them up. Honestly, if you can't be with somebody the way they are, then you shouldn't be with them at all. And just overall, like, don't settle for a salary that is not suitable. Do your negotiations or hold out for something better. Just understand that you are worth everything. But if you aren't treating yourselves in the sense of the word of being 100% worthy of everything that you deserve, then nobody else will either. So you've got to really learn how to set boundaries and stick to them. It's a life changer. It is a game changer, okay? Celebrating your highs, no matter what they are, no matter how small they are, just like getting a great parking spot or making a green light or whatever it is, whatever you did really well, oh, this outfit looks great on me. I like the way my hair looks today. I'm so funny, and just any sort of achievement. Okay. So don't push them back when somebody compliments you. That's a huge mistake in my opinion. You really just have to celebrate yourself, and the highs can be sometimes few and far between. So really celebrate them. Even if nobody else is clapping for you, clap for yourself. Okay. So on the opposite side of that is to be very gentle to yourself when you're having a low period. You might be going through a dark night of the soul. You could be having no luck in anything like the dating scene or getting a job or finding a place to live, just maybe feeling very dissatisfied and sort of left out. Okay, so these plateaus, they're there for a reason. Most of our growth happens in places where we are very uncomfortable, when things are not going our way, that you learn so much about your patience and your tolerance and your boundary setting, understanding that the universe works in its own divine and perfect timing. So try not to beat yourself up, okay? It is what it is. Like, learn how to say things to comfort yourself in moments where things are not going your way, or things like nothing is happening. It just seems like Groundhog Day, and one day is the same as the next, okay? But just be patient and try to find joyful things to do, like taking yourself out for lunch or going for a walk, honoring your body, just whatever it takes, okay? So making time to observe your thoughts and feelings, I find a lot of us, and I do this too, is like really suppressing things because we could have grown up in really oppressive homes, parents, guardians. You could have been subjected to somebody that was a narcissist or a gaslighter in some sort of a relationship. I know plenty of you have had very dark pasts and histories and not very nice people. They can kind of change the tone in which you speak to yourself, okay? So getting in touch with who you are in a really raw way can be a little bit scary, because sometimes we have these overarching thoughts that were provided to us by other people, okay? Breath work is really good for this. Meditation, I find yoga is very good for this. Like all the same stuff that I always talk about. I have a hair stuck in my lipstick. Hold on. All right, so listening to your gut, and this is really important when it comes to other people too, right? Listening to your feelings. Your body is already going to tell you through like feeling nauseous or anxious how you feel about a situation. So you want to give yourself space to listen to that. Like, what is my body trying to tell me right now? What is my stomach trying to tell me? What is my heart rate trying to tell me? And just kind of, you can give like, push people back, if they're trying to make you respond right away. I need a minute to process this. You don't have to respond to people in their timeline, okay? So your thoughts and your feelings are the most important out of anybody else's in your life. So really take time. And it can be very scary for those of you that have had things like depression or things where you've had a very extensive dark night of the soul, and you've just like gone through so much exploration, and you're just going to have to know that things are always going to come up that can be confusing. They can be scary. You might think that you're going to slide back into a depression. I had my own bout of depression and a very, very long dark night of the soul. So, it can be hard to look at again. It can be hard to think, well, I don't want that to happen to me again, but you're stronger now. That's what the dark night of the souls are for. That's what the long plateaus are for, so that you can really draw strength and learn how to accept yourself and everything that you're thinking and everything that you're feeling. And also realizing that not everything is going to be a picnic. Not everything is going to be pretty that you think and feel, but you're experiencing them for a reason. So you can I find writing things out is really, really cool and very helpful. You could do a voice recording, you could do a video recording and listen to it later, watch it later, and see how you're behaving, when you're expressing your emotions. And that could really like give you some sort of an empathy for yourself, because if you were talking to a friend that was in any type of state, your first instinct would probably be to calm them down and offer assistance. But for some reason, when it comes to ourselves, we really tend to be so hard on ourselves. And that's just an ugliness, and that is not loving yourself, okay? So try those techniques, you guys. And I know it can seem a little bit weird to watch yourself, but it gives you such an outside perspective on who you are. And, you might get the feeling like if you could hug yourself, you probably would, but you could too. You could hug yourself. You could give yourself a big hug, and that's okay too. So really honoring the way you think and the way you feel, even if it's like 100% ugly, it's going to come and go. It's going to come and go, but you got to love yourself enough to go through every single thing in your life that you are going through, okay? I love this one. Stop backing down, okay? Stop backing down. I mean, it speaks for itself, but how many times have you like bit your tongue and not responded to somebody, and let them have their way and like sort of acquiesced? I mean, I think the only real position where it might be good to like draw a line in the sand and not cross it is if you're worried about getting fired from a job, or if you're worried about somebody being violent towards you, okay? These are extreme situations, and you got to be very, very careful in situations like that, because you do need a source of income, and I would be worried about your health and wellness and your safety and security in a situation where you thought that somebody was going to explode in some sort of incident. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be exceptions to every rule, but if you got a steamroller of a friend or parent or partner, you cannot be happy when somebody else is getting their own way all the time and sort of forcing their will onto you. It's not acceptable, okay? So that can be very difficult if you've never done it before. And I'm just thinking back to when I was like so quiet. I would never say anything. I would never push back. And it took me a long time to develop myself out of those patterns. Like I had a very, very dominant and aggressive and sometimes violent father. So that stayed with me for a long, long time. But now I'm the first one. I'm the first one to speak up. and I will not back down. And honestly, because I've been through so much, I probably won't back down if it's a situation involving my boss or somebody that is threatening me with violence, because these are two things that I'm not afraid of anymore. And I value myself to that degree. And honestly, I know how to defend myself too. I was taught that. So I really don't generally back down in any situation anymore. Sometimes I'm able to do it with a little bit more class and style, but sometimes, sometimes I yell. It really depends on the situation, but I don't like being pushed around anymore. I've been through enough of that in my lifetime. I've been through enough of it for 10 people. So I don't let anybody push me around anymore. And depending on the situation, I can use a greater degree of diplomacy, or I'll use that technique and say, you know what, let's revisit this tomorrow. Okay. So you can really just sort of think about things and then come back and talk to the person, really depending on who it is, and what is happening in the immediate, like the present moment. Okay. So, you really got to think about that one and how you're going to approach things, especially if this is a repeat offender, because it can really blow their mind, okay, where they're like, wow, what's going on here? So they could be even a little bit pushier because they're used to manipulating you, okay? So, and people like that, you got to really think about what they're doing in your life in the first place and maybe make some hard decisions about that, because you matter more than them. And I'm going to go so far as to say that sometimes in really toxic families, you might even have to cut people out, okay? Because you got to maintain your own sanity and your own free will, okay? So the last thing I have for you guys, and I talk about this a lot, is to make time for you every day. So that's obviously going to look different for each and every one of us. It depends on how many people you're responsible for. One of my favorite times of the day is, driving home from work, and I put on some music and I sing and, do the drum solo on the steering wheel and just really enjoying that. But I carve out a lot of time in the morning, and I talk about this frequently because it's worth getting up a little bit earlier so that you can experience quiet and solitude, hopefully, and just really do things your way, My routine is the same every day. It doesn't matter if it's a work day for me or if it's a weekend. I get up, I go out with Lacey, I come back, I do yoga, I have my bath, I get my hair did, I put on my facial, I talk to you guys for a little while, or I read tarot, I go to work, and then I come home, and I always give myself half an hour before bedtime to unwind, okay? So you have to have time for yourself, and this can be very difficult if you're a parent, okay, with young children. I've obviously been there too. It was like crushing for me because I was responsible for everything. Unfortunately, my husband, ex-husband, he just didn't really participate in anything with running the household, it was me. It was a lot. And I really burned myself out, and I really went through a lot. So if you're not getting support from your partner, it's definitely time to start asking them. If you're a single parent with young children, maybe try the getting up in the earlier in the morning thing, because sometimes that's the only way that you can have that moment to sort of preserve your thoughts and just like maybe enjoy a cup of coffee or have a bath without somebody knocking on the door. Okay. Something else that I did when my kids were really young, you guys, when I would pick them up from daycare after work, I had an egg timer, and I would set it 10 to 15 minutes after we got home and just say, okay, so you kids can go play in your room or get changed or whatever. And I need this much time until this bell dings. Okay. So that was really basically the only time that I had, because I didn't know the rest of these things. At that time, I was very young. I was in my early 20s. So I wasn't nearly as developed as I am right now. But anyway, so These are some very simple ways to love yourself. Some of them can be a little bit harder than others, especially not backing down to other people, finding time for yourself, like especially if you have roommates or a big family. But anyway, guys, I hope this helps you out, because really our whole purpose here is to find out who we are. Discover the secrets of our heart, and recover from very strenuous or arduous childhoods or relationships, and really find ourselves being in balance again, and really falling in love with you, no matter what your body type is, no matter what you look like, no matter how you identify. It's great that other people love us, but if we're not loving ourselves, then everything else is kind of an empty echo. So anyway, guys, I'm sending you love from the bottom of my heart. Peace and blessings. Namaste. Bye.